will be coming back and collect any final items that you would like to dispose of.
Good afternoon and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to complete the Toronto, Ottawa, Montreal triangle. We first started flying on the A220 from Toronto to Ottawa, and then we took Via Rail from Ottawa to Montreal. Today we're going to be flying back to Toronto with Air Canada Rouge. Now originally I was supposed to fly with Air Canada Express to Toronto City Centre Airport, and I wanted to bring you that video because that's the only route Air Canada flies to the downtown airport. But that flight was suspended or cancelled, and I've been placed with Air Canada Rouge. To make things more interesting, we got to backtrack to Quebec City before ending up in Toronto. So we have 2 flights today and we have some time to kill, so come along as we go from A to B. Once again, welcome back to another video and my 3rd consecutive travel day. I had a great day in Montreal, seeing some of the sights and eating some delicious food. I'm rarely, if ever, in Montreal, last time in 2015, for a connecting flight off to London. Anyway, it was time to return to the center of the universe, or the Six, Toronto, Ogtown, Leafs Nation, Toronto, or whatever name you please. And I'll give credit where credit is due. Air Canada gave ample notifications about the cancelled flight and provided an easy avenue to select another available flight. I presume the cancellation had to do something with demand and the post-pandemic struggles, as all flights to Toronto were to YYZ, and I couldn't find another flight to Toronto City Centre. The choice of this particular itinerary was so I can get 2 birds stoned at once. We can check out the domestic Air Canada Rouge product, and I get an additional flight segment by having 2 flights this day. Win-win. YUL has 1 terminal which facilitates flights to America, international, and domestic destinations. The airport was quite lively this day, and the domestic area was reasonably crowded. Unlike other airports in the country, YUL lacks the openness with its low ceilings, and we'll see this throughout the video. Streetside didn't appear to have too much beyond the standard check-in facilities, and with the security line this long, I figure I might as well jump in. I was pleasantly surprised though by the domestic gate side of the airport. Sure, the passage is relatively narrow and confined, but there is a solid selection of shops and restaurants throughout. And for those able to use the Maple Leaf Lounge, it's located by Gate 3. 1 gate over is our gate for the first flight, with our little A319 waiting outside. This would be a full flight, and even with a small jet like this, you can really see how crowded a gate can get, especially when social distancing was still being emphasized. While on the topic, I think it was a poor showing with airline staff blatantly not complying with the federal mandate to wear masks, and you can see many passengers doing the same. Like it or not, at a time when passengers were warned to wear masks or face, and quote, financial penalties, and YUL charging $3 for them, it was a bit ridiculous to see staff not comply. It was the law at the time and appeared no one was enforcing it. On a happier note, I was happy to have Zone 2 boarding so I can quickly jump on board and have a few minutes to take a peek outside. I had to endure a middle seat for the first flight. Less than ideal, but for a 32-minute flight, it was bearable. On a flight like this, they quickly offered water, but I didn't bother. I spent the time counting the seconds down and wondering what the business class experience could possibly be on this short flight. Think it's worth it? Alright, so the first flight is over, 32 minutes. I think the shortest flight of the year, but I think that leaves it up to a challenge. I can probably find a couple islands in Tokyo that are maybe a 15-minute flight or something. We'll see. Anyways, for the second flight, it's the same aircraft, same gate, so just got off the plane, gonna wait here for a bit, and then back on we go. With the initial flight being about 15 minutes late, it was a very quick turnaround, maybe 20 minutes, if that. And for the second flight, we're in 27F at the rear of the aircraft. And hey, I got a whole row to myself. And a window. Much better. With the quick turnaround and the flight not being terribly full, we managed to push back on time. These two flights were on board a 25-year-old A319-100, delivered way back in December '97, one of 20 in Rouge's fleet. There's 136 seats on board in two classes, one less compared to the new A220. The aircraft has 3 lavatories, 2 at the rear and 1 in the front. Our flight's going to take us back west over Montreal along the north coast of Lake Ontario to Toronto. The economy cabin has 21 rows in a 3-3 seating configuration with a grey interior. Simple red curtains separate economy from the premium Rouge class. Seats are dark grey with a maroon seatbelt and an adjustable headrest. The seat also provides a minimal recline as well. Seat back contains a pocket for a magazine, the tray table, and the pocket beneath for the safety card. Seat pitch is 29 inches, the same as Jetstar Japan, so things can get a little tight. There are no power outlets, USB slots, or headphone jacks on Rouge's A319s or their A320s, so if you're flying Rouge on longer flights, be sure to have your devices charged. The table is larger than what we saw on the A220 and is adjustable. And above, each passenger has access to their air control and reading light. Air Canada Rouge aircraft are Wi-Fi enabled. There is also a streaming service on board. The selection appeared to be less than the IFE on other aircraft. However, it was much quicker than the older in-flight entertainment systems. And of course, as we gaze outside the window, I invite new viewers to jump on board and subscribe for continued aviation and travel-related content. On this flight, there was a quick drink service, offering water or orange juice and pretzels. Rouge does offer Air Canada's bistro menu on flights longer than 90 minutes, so a flight like this is really kind of on the cusp between this service and the full bistro menu. The lavatory in the back is what you expect for a 25-year-old aircraft, and was clean and tidy. And I guess, should you need to charge your device, this may help. No idea if it actually works or not. Rouge started as Air Canada's low-cost carrier branch back in 2012, hence the lack of power outlets, physical IFE, and the narrow seat pitch. They service sun destinations in the Caribbean and in the States, and used to fly to Europe with their now retired 767s. Personally, I don't see the low-cost part of them anymore, especially compared to other low-cost carriers. They're integrated into Air Canada's network, so domestically speaking, for a given route, one flight may be with Rouge, while another flight may be with Air Canada's mainline or AC Express. It all depends. But for a small 2-3 hour flight, I think they're a perfectly acceptable option. I guess my limit may be how long the battery on my phone lasts. The flight time was about 70 minutes. The cost for this one-way economy ticket came out to $155. Keep in mind, my original itinerary was from Montreal to Toronto City Centre, and this flight was an alternative to that cancelled flight. Right, so that's Air Canada Rouge regional domestic flight. And the flight from Quebec, I actually thought it was very similar to a regional flight in Japan on like Solar Seed or Skymark. you kind of have that smaller drink service with the fewer options, and there's no in-flight entertainment system on the seat. Although I did like the streaming on board to my phone. I actually thought it was faster than some in-flight entertainment systems that we've seen. So I really like that, and it was a nice, smooth evening flight to Toronto. And hey, we're back at gate D31 where we left 2 or 3 days ago. So overall, it's nice. It was a nice, fun little trip. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you thought about Air Canada Rouge domestic product. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you around next time.